What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. There's a recession taking place right up under our feet if we want to just get really candid and be frank, right? Because article after article, place after place, and I travel all over the country and I'm starting to talk to a lot of people and they saying that Anton, there's a lot of layoffs that's happening in the industry. I'm out here in Vegas having a great time. I'm overlooking a pool down there over at Vidara, and then I got the Cosmopolitan, and I see what's happening over there in the Bellagio. So we having a good time. I'm here for the Patreon meetup. If you're not a part of the Patreon, feel free to check it out and tap in. The link is in the description. And then if you need personal coaching or you want to tap in with me personally, feel free to do that also. But person after person, and then I'm reading all of these articles that align with exactly what it is that I'm seeing happening throughout the industry. And basically, it's a wave of layoffs that's sweeping across the United States. And it's a lot of places that's announced layoffs so far. So let me show you what it is that I'm looking at a little bit. And then we can have that discussion. I'll give you my thoughts. And then I want to break down exactly what's happening. So it's saying that layoffs, and this is on Business Insider, sweeping across American businesses for the first few months of 2022. Now, we know that the economy is in the tank, so to speak, as far as stocks, right? Stocks, cryptocurrency, absolutely in the tank. For me, it's a buying opportunity, but that's an entirely different conversation. But the markets is it's egregious right now. So these are different issues that's going to be laid at the feet of Joe Biden. And I think that voters are going to remember what's happening in the economy. They're going to remember what's happening when it comes to jobs. They're going to remember what happens when it comes to the market. And they're certainly going to remember what happens when it comes to inflation and housing, right? But recent startups like Peloton, we already know that, has laid off thousands of employees this year. Even traditionally layoff resistant companies like Netflix are making cuts, right? Now, online car dealer Carvana plans to slash 12% of its workforce. That's a lot of people. That's not a small amount. When you're talking about double digits, 12% of its workforce, that's a lot of people. And it's largely because business is slowing. Let me say that again. It's largely because business is slowing. You're starting to see an economy catch up with the circumstances that it's presented with, especially as far as inflation. You got the chip shortage, you got logistic problems, you have the war over in Ukraine, you have supplies being slowed up, and then you have a bunch of band-aids being put on a bunch of different issues. In reality, we know that companies are starting to pay attention and they're saying, you know what? We're either going to freeze hiring or we're going to start laying people off, which now that means that the majority of the jobs that are available are the ones that's a part of the service industry or the customer service industry. But let's continue, right? The reason broadly is twofold. Business growth is slowing while labor costs are increasing, which means that companies are now looking to solve for doing more with less. And that's either putting more of the burden on employees that's currently there, or B, they're looking to solve it with technology and automation. But let's continue. Combination is causing American companies across a variety of industries to slash headcount. Here are the most notable examples so far. So we're just going to go through and skim through this really quickly because I don't want this to be a large article. Carvana is laying off about 2,500 people. In the Patreon, I showed you guys how to use companies like Carvana. And I used companies like Carvana in order to do a car hack to make more money as a result when my lease was up, in which I then bought the car and then I sold it back to Carvana instead of just turning a lease in, and they gave me a premium above whatever it is that I bought the car for. So Carvana is laying off 2,500 people because in an email to employees viewed by the Wall Street Journal, CEO said the company has overestimated growth amid a challenging time in the auto industry. Now, the interesting thing about Carvana and its growth is that it's largely tied to people purchasing cars online, which you would think that because, let me blow myself up here. You would think that because the new car industry is having a semiconductor chip shortage and a part shortage across the industry, outside of semiconductor chips that Carvana would be thriving. But because the economy is slowing, I think that people are starting to cut back. You're starting to see people get laid off a little bit. I think that it's becoming a bit of a problem. It's becoming a bit of a problem. And so they're cutting 12% of their workforce. You know that the company is always going to say the thing that makes shareholders feel the best, technically, as far as not saying that business is too slow and we're not making as much money as we want to, but they're going to say that, we're overestimating growth amid a challenging time in the auto industry. So they saying that they need to find a better balance between its sales volume and its staffing levels. I think that the industry itself is in trouble. I think that the recession is here for a large majority of people, and things are just going to get worse before it gets better. Reef, 750 people, 5% of its global workforce, which is a ghost kitchen company. SoftBank startup is laying off 750 employees as it works towards profitability. And all of these ghost kitchen companies and these meal prep companies, they were all focused on growth to start as far as trying to capture a majority of the market share than they were trying to be profitable. And so now you see that it's underperforming now that the economy isn't what they thought it was going to be, and so they're laying off people. GoPuff is laying off 400 people. Better.com, they've already laid off a ton of people. We've already detailed how egregious their CEO was when he laid off a ton of people over Zoom. And they're laying off 4,000 people. They are a mortgage company or a company that's involved in real estate. Noom, 495 people. Peloton, over 2,800 people. Thrasio, 20% of their staff. Robinhood is laying off 300 people. Wells Fargo is laying off an unknown amount of people in the mortgage industry, including loan processors, underwriters, amongst other positions, because we know that the majority of the people aren't taking out loans, so on and so forth. We've seen enough here, right? But I've read that a lot of executives are leaving Twitter. I know people that work at Peloton that's saying that the majority of the people are leaving the company and they're not replacing the positions. What they're deciding to do is just shuffle people around, because I don't think Peloton is going to survive as a company. Zillow, they're having problems. Even Meta, Facebook, is saying that they're not laying off people, but they're having a hiring freeze, because not only are they trying to prop up the share price, but they're trying to reduce the amount of that they're spending to build this new metaverse, and they're waiting till things shake out. So again, unless you have the type of position to where you're no longer going to have to worry about ever working again, and you're making the right investments instead of increasing your lifestyle to fit whatever your new raise was that you thought you got, you don't have the stability. And I don't believe that there's as many jobs, high paying jobs, that you think are available in order to be able to substantiate or support your lifestyle. And so I think that it's important for people to start paying attention not only to the industries and the long-term prospects of what it is that you do for a living, but also how you're making your investments and whether or not the things that you're doing is going to play out in the long run instead of the short run, because everybody can stop and start and having these short bursts of success, but no long-term growth when it comes to them living and raising up their finances as far as their net worth long term. I think that now in the stock industry, as usual, there's always going to be cyclical moments. It's a huge buying opportunity, but there's going to be more pain ahead, which makes it even more of a buying opportunity for those that will continue to get rich and is not using the money that they've made in their businesses in order to support their lifestyle, but they're continuing to make investments. I think that we need to start being a little bit more careful. Make sure you join the Patreon. Link is in the description. And if you need a coaching call, email me, go to my website, hit the email link, and then I'll schedule you in my calendar so we can get you together, because everything is all cute and pretty when the economy is great. But when there's an underlying recession and an underwater current where a lot of people are getting laid off and large companies aren't even hiring anymore, that's an issue. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you tap in with me. Follow me on all my social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're doing the work on every platform. Guys, do not make this mistake that I made back in 06, 07, and 08. And then you find yourself trying to survive instead of having an opportunity to really get rich and thrive. I love you. I appreciate you. Again, make sure you take care of yourself, take care of your family, and more importantly, make the decisions that's going to ensure that you're successful long-term instead of these short-term decisions. Tap in with me. Make sure you share the platform. And then again, Patreon is open to all those that's looking to join the Bag Chasers. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.